Good morning and welcome to another pre-market review session with the Market Trader. My name is Ray, the Market Trader, and before we begin, we'll need to run through our obligatory risk disclosure. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. All right, so just want to remind everyone that the content is being published and distributed by the Market Trader and its affiliates is to be treated as general information only. None of the information provided by the company or contained herein is intended as investment advice and offered to buy, sell, recommend, endorse, sponsor any security, company, or funds. We all understand that the information contained herein is to be used at your own risk, and the company, its partners, representatives, agents, employees, and contractors assume no responsibility or liability for any use or misuse of such information. We all understand that future trading does carry a fair amount of risk. It's not for every investor. An investor could potentially lose all or more of their investment capital. Only risk capital, money that can be lost without jeopardizing one's financial security or lifestyle, should be used for trading, and only those individuals with sufficient risk capital should consider trading. Again, nothing contained herein is a solicitation or an offer to buy, sell, recommend futures, options, or forex, and past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Okay. All right. So now that we've gotten through the risk disclosure here, guys, we're going to go ahead and turn our attention to our financial portal and see what kind of news that we have that could impact our ability to navigate the markets here a little bit. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and do just that. We're going to go ahead and open up our news portal here, and we're going to go ahead and take a look at to see what kind of news that we have coming today that could impact our market and our ability to navigate them. Okay. All right. So taking a look at the news here. Hopefully you guys can see my screen here. So we have a few announcements. We have U.S. News home sales here coming in at 10 a.m. Today for those crude oil traders. Okay, no worries, Simon. Okay, perfect. All right. So looking at okay, so we have the U.S. New home sales coming in at 10 a.m. And then we have at 10:30 a.m. we have the EIA crude oil inventory report. Okay. And then we have some other note yield information coming out at 1 p.m. And then we have Fed members speaking here at the end of the session. All right. So yeah, probably a little bit of light in the way of news. To be honest, I would say that the next couple of days probably are going to generate a little bit more in the way of activity in this market here. I'm just kind of trying to see if I can get to the other pieces here. So we have a big day of news tomorrow, right? We have durable goods, GDP, initial jobless claims, all items that could potentially impact the markets. And then we close out the week with even more news. The PCE price index year over year, month over month, also could have, and then some inflationary sentiment kind of numbers that are potentially coming in as well. So fair amount of news as we close out the week today, and probably light in comparison, but nonetheless, we do have for those crude oil traders, we do have the EIA report. Okay, that's I would say is relatively significant, and then we have U.S. home sales coming in at 10 a.m. Okay, the other thing that's coming in at 10 a.m. I think hopefully we're not overlooking is that we have the European options expiration coming in at 10 a.m. on a daily basis. That obviously has some impact on the European on the commodities in particular. Yes, Simon. I generally avoid crude oil during that time. Okay, you can think of it, Simon, as kind of the FOMC, right, of the equity market. All right, so yes, when they're reporting on whether there's been a draw or whether there's a surplus of oil, generally that creates some volatility in the market. While volatility is nice, there's some volatility that's required in order to navigate the markets. That's not the kind of volatility I want to be a part of, right? So a lot of false moves, as the market participants react to the news and try to understand how to work with oil, what they need to do with the oil market going forward, or their positions, I should say, going forward. Okay. All right. So now that we've gotten through the news here, guys, we're going to go ahead now and turn our attention to our charting platform, and specifically kind of take a look and see what is the market offering us in the way of opportunity. Okay. All right. So let's take a look here. Let's turn our attention to the portal. Okay. All right. And let's open up, maybe start off as we normally do with the gold market. Okay. And then kind of navigate our way through these other markets. Okay. All right. So let's take a look here. All right. All right. So let's now move this over. Okay, here we go. All right, hopefully everyone can see my screen here. I have a 5-minute chart of the gold market. We're going to go ahead and turn that into the daily chart here. So you can see that we remain, okay, we remain in some bullish structure here to the upside. You can see that the daily is again creating another bullish candle, okay, developing bullish candle here, okay. So nothing on the daily chart indicating that there is any sort of how we say not so much relief, but any loss of momentum, okay, to the upside, okay. So what we are seeing is a fair amount of selling coming into this market, but that's really has not translated into price. Okay, so if there's a fair amount of selling, then the expectation is that we would see maybe some reversal candles. So we're seeing a lot of selling in the market, but it's not translated into price just yet. Okay, yes, strong trend. Yes, very much so. Okay. And then if you look at the ADX indicator, well, that's also giving us an indication we have strong momentum here, as well as the positive DI is also positive here. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the 4-hour chart. Okay, looking at the 4-hour chart. All right, so we'll go ahead and we'll remove some of our drawings here for a moment, with specifically actually not initial balance here for a moment. All right, so if I can locate it, looks like it's on the bottom. Okay. All right, so again, you can see that price is above all the indicators that we care about. You can see that we got a nice moving average crosses across. Okay. Yeah, I'll come back to that question here in a minute, Aslan. Okay. All right. So, hey, Antherwill. So we see that we're getting our moving averages are crossing above. All right. So indicating that we got some renewed interest in this market as of, I don't know, the 19th here. Okay. We were in a little bit of a consolidation range. We had a bearish channel and we broke above the channel, right? You can see that we were in this bearish channel here in the past. Okay. We made a nice break of that channel, and now in a strong move here to the upside. Okay. So coming to Aslan's question, in an ideal sense, we want to see volume align with price action. Okay, so basically, as sellers add volume, the expectation is that it should drive price to the downside. If buyers are sense that that the sellers are not able to drive price lower, well, it kind of acts in reverse, right? So sellers are coming in trying to sell the market, Okay, now they're caught and holding positions, and they're not able to drive price. So as a result, it enhances the direction, right? So when we see that kind of divergence, it enhances the bullish direction, because we have sellers that have to be, I guess, a lot more nimble in covering their positions. Okay, and as a result, it adds a bit of momentum in that direction, because they have to maybe potentially buy. So buy to obviously to close their positions, and that in and of itself causes a rally. Okay, so it's indicating that maybe we have some trap sellers up above. Okay, some potential of trap sellers. Trap sellers have to react, and as a result, we get the reaction that we're looking for, or the continuation move that we're expecting. Okay, yeah, exactly, Aslan. So basically, it's volume is not aligned with the current price action. They try to move the markets, and as a result, it only adds momentum to the current direction. Okay, so yes, it's kind of like a boomerang. Okay, all right, let's go ahead and move on to the 30-minute chart here. All right, so looking at the 30-minute chart, we're going to go ahead and take a look at this a little bit more closely. Okay, so again, you can see that price again kind of creating a little bit of a consolidation pattern here. We got a push to the downside. Okay, that broke this channel to the downside. So potentially, again, this could have caused maybe to some trap sellers. This is kind of what I was kind of talking about here, right? We got a strong push to the downside, only to be followed with bullish price action. Okay, getting a break of channel. I mean, expectation is that there's going to be some sort of pullback. All we did with this move is come back to an area where there's more interest here to the upside. Now, what I will say is that we have yet to break. All right, we have yet to break this channel that I'm about to draw here to the upside. We have not made any sort of new highs or new lows in this market. Okay, we haven't technically made a new low, have yet to make a new high. Right now, we're kind of in the middle of this bearish channel. So again, I'm going to be looking for, if I'm going to look for an opportunity to the upside, I'd like to see a break. I'd like to see a break of the channel, a retest of that channel with some sort of rejection candle to give me the indication that buyers are still very much present in the market. Okay. Right now, we are above our VWAP, technically above our 9 EMA, and above all the other MAs that we care about on the long term. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at the fixed range volume profile. Let's take a look and see where price is in relation to the current price action. Okay, so we'll take a look at Tuesday. Okay, so Tuesday. Let's get out of the replay mode here. Okay, so this is even more pushing even further to the downside here. So did not, oops. Let's extend this. Okay, now that I've gotten some more information here. Okay, so we are in some sort of bearish channel to the downside, have not been able to make any new highs of late. All right, so indicating that there are obviously some sellers present in the market. Okay, all right, so let's take a look at the not Mondays, but Tuesdays start of session here. So we'll do it right about there. Drag that across. Looks like we might be in some sort of range in this market. Let's see. No, we're actually below. Okay, so we're below value from yesterday. So indicating that we have maybe some potential aggressive buyers who have stepped into the market. Okay, so we had price fall below value. Okay, came back to retest value. It was rejected again. Okay, did manage to make a new low, but we managed to find buyers, which is no surprise, is because it came into a demand area. Okay, so market is starting to look like maybe it's in some sort of range. Okay, some sort of range. You're starting to see maybe a little bit of overlapping kind of moving averages here. 90 MA. We're getting some crosses here of the higher time frame above the faster time frame, 90 MA. So it'll be interesting to see. Okay, if we are able right now, we're in the middle of the range. I'm going to go ahead and open up my visible range volume profile here. So we are in some sort of larger range here at the moment. We came down to the edge of the range, okay, earlier, and that offered us a nice reversal in price, okay, right here, right? Now we are inside the middle of the range. So we're going to go ahead and now and take a look at maybe the initial balance here across the various markets and see if that offers us any insight as to the direction here. So we're going to go ahead and start off with let me go ahead and maybe remove some of my drawings here because I think it's getting a little cluttered. So I'm going to remove that. And we're going to go ahead and open up the initial balance range for Asia to start and see what the market is trying to do here. So Asia was relatively bullish, got to another nice, initially bearish, right? Got a nice little extension, looking like more of a failed auction here to the downside, right? Got a nice push to the downside, a pullback, an extension, but no real follow through until it found an area where buyers were able to get it back inside initial balance, break outside the top of the initial balance range, and get up to the 200% extension. Yeah, so yes, the overnight was a bit tricky, right? Because the fact we were able to expose both directions, indicating that maybe we are in some sort of range kind of price action currently in the gold market. All right, so let's take a look and see what London has been able to do with this market here. So we'll go ahead and modify this to London. All right, and London, you can see similar kind of bearish kind of action here, right? We got a nice extension down to the 100% extension, okay? And now we've come back to initial balance low. While we got some initial interest here to the downside, probably did not get what we would expect. So if price does manage to close back inside the initial balance range, that opens the door for us to revisit maybe the other side of the range at 38.12. Okay, currently we're at 38.02. If price does manage to close back inside, that could offer us maybe a move again, according to James Dalton, that could offer us maybe a rotation of price through the initial balance range. So the area that it's in right now, at least on the London side, is going to be relatively important here. Okay, so do we hold below initial balance and continue to the downside, or do we accept price back inside a value area? Okay, and offer us maybe a rotation back at least up to the highs here. Okay, so that's kind of what I'm seeing here. Let's take a quick look here at the current initial balance range that's being established. Okay, so we have a relatively small range, which is always the desire here when we're working through initial balance extensions. Okay, so assuming we get a nice narrow and initial balance range, well, that gives us the confidence to potentially take an extension trade. Okay, so again, looking at this, you can see that we are in some sort of consolidation pattern. Okay, so like we said, like we've discussed, I'm going to be waiting for some sort of indication as to the direction that they want to take the market, and then decide to go from there. Right. So right now, right at this moment, I would say I'm neutral to bullish. Okay, neutral to bullish. Okay. I am seeing evidence on both sides. All right. The current evidence that I'm seeing is giving me some sort of indication that maybe assuming that we can get above maybe this area here of 38.04, that could open up an opportunity, right? Could open up opportunity that leads us to this kind of thing. But I am wary. All right. I am wary of, I'm going to go ahead and draw a little bit of a trend line here. I am wary that there is a little bit of a trend right now to the downside. Okay. I'm making lower lows and lower highs here at the moment on the shorter time frame. So this area that I have drawn here is this trend line that I'm drawing. I'm going to go ahead and mark in red. Okay, this is a resistance zone, right? If we are indeed going to break or move higher, we need to get above this area here at 3807. If we are unable to make 3807, then my expectation is that we continue this pattern that we're in, this downward momentum that we're in this market. Okay, that's kind of what I'm looking at here, because it does feel like some sort of consolidation pattern. Okay, here, right? So we're kind of moving into a market that's about to make yet another big move. Okay. All right. So again, right now I would say that I'm neutral. Okay, neutral. Like I said, I can make a case for either, right? So I'm gonna wait for price to extend. If it extends, which direction is going to extend? Basically, I'm waiting for participants to pick a direction. Once they pick a direction, then I'm going to see if I can reasonably participate in the market. Right now, I don't see much in the way of direction, and it's probably best for me in a situation like that, rather than trying to figure out which direction that's going to be. Is it going to be up? Is it going to be down? Let the market tell me which direction they want to take it, and then I will use that as kind of the indication as to how I want to participate. Okay. All right. That's kind of what I have for the gold market. We'll go ahead and move on to the crude oil market here. Okay. Looking at the crude oil market, looks like we've caught in a little bit of a bid here of late in this market. So market's starting to rally, maybe because of all the unrest that we're seeing throughout the market. So let's take a look at the daily. Daily started to show some signs of strength here. Let's turn off the moving average here. Averages moving ribbon here for a moment, as well as the initial balance range. Okay, so you can see here we've created kind of a, I don't know, triple bottom here at the 6150 6160 level. Looks like we opened the market with a gap. Okay, we've since filled that gap, starting to again show some signs that maybe the market is looking to head higher. Right. Again, we have the overnight. We have the inventory report coming today, which could be the catalyst if there's maybe lack of supply, or maybe a large drawdown that could cause the market to continue to rally. Assuming that we can get above 6450, obviously 6550 is the next kind of logical place for market to reach. Market has been in range, so again, we have to be careful as to the possibility of how sustained this move is going to be, right? But assuming we can get above 6450, the next logical location would be 6550. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the 4-hour chart. Let's see if we can glean anything in the way. Now you can see that we're starting to develop a little bit of bullish structure here, right? If I'm just looking at these more recent candles here, right? If I'm just looking at these candles recently, right? We're starting to develop a little bit of bullish structure here to the upside, okay? We are coming into some areas. Now, 64 was an area that we had talked about. We managed to get above the 64 level. Now we're kind of now we're looking to test the 6460 level as part of this larger range that we've been in this market, okay? So looking at the 30-minute chart, let's go ahead and take a look at the 30-minute chart. Again, you can see, right, price is above our 9, above our VWAP, and I'll go ahead and open up the ribbons here. We're starting to see the ribbons begin to cross over here, right? We were down by, let's see, over here, I think was down by these 200 moving averages is above us, right? So we managed to get above the 200 moving average. Price is above actually a lot of our levels at the moment, right? So price there's nothing above us, right? So let's see here to the left here. So price is coming into an area where we could potentially find some sellers. Okay, so let's take a look at the fixed range volume profile, and let's get a sense for what price did yesterday, and where price is in relation to yesterday's price action, I should say. Okay, drag that across. All right, so here we are. So again, looks like we have a fair amount of interest in this market to the upside. Okay, so looks like our okay. So fair amount of interest here to the upside. I would say if I extend this value area high from yesterday's range, I would say that this area right here, the 68, 60, 63, 67 level would be a level of relative interest for me, right? So if price were to come down to that level, okay, this would be a logical area for to find some buyers in this market. Now, we appear to be a bit extended here to the upside at the moment. We're starting to see a little bit of maybe some sellers potentially stepping into this market. We are getting some rejection candles above, so it would not surprise me in the least if we did manage to close or did manage to maybe pull back here a little bit. Okay, before we made any sort of continuation move here to the upside. This area here at 63.89 seems like a very logical area, given what I'm seeing, to be for a retracement in price. The nice thing about that is that we have a lot of confluence here with some other indicators that would support and provide us support for a level where we can manage our risk and remain aligned with the general direction of the market. Okay. All right. Let's open up our initial balance range. Let's see what the overnight session provided. We'll start off with the Asia market and see what Asia was able to do with this market. It looks like it was able to take longs here. Okay, at the tail end of the session, really didn't do much in the way of Asia. Really tight range. We did manage to extend the range to the downside, but basically get to the point of control that's here on the right. Before we found some buyers. Buyers did get aggressive. Okay, buyers did get aggressive again. Possibly the result of some of the activity that we're seeing in the world. Okay, we got a nice extension here to the upside. So a lot of bulls in this market at the moment. We've gotten to the 100% extension of this market. So again, another bit of confluence here around this 63.89 level. That is the top of the initial balance range. Again, this would be a nice logical area for price to come back to and maybe offer us an opportunity for a long trade in this market. Okay, so that's kind of what I'm seeing in the market right now. I would say that probably a bit more bullish. I do understand that I am extended. So, certainly there might be an opportunity here to take the market down, right, to some of these levels before we see sort of any reversal in price. Okay, so a short down to this level would not be out of the question. And then certainly this area here would probably be the extent that I would normally expect to see in this market. But because we have news, it could be a little bit trickier today. Okay. So yeah, so I would say on the short term, I'm looking at maybe more bullish opportunities in this market. I do understand on the higher time frame that I'm still in range, so I have to kind of curb my expectations on where the market could go. All right, but certainly I'm going to be waiting for price, unless I think we've already kind of opened up here the regular session, so we'll take a look at that. Not that right there, but this here. Okay, and see kind of what kind of range. So relatively narrow range. I don't know. We'll probably stay in this really tight range up until the inventory report. Okay, so probably best to sit on our hands until then. Okay, let the news kind of come into the market, because most likely, unless they get some sort of early indications of what that report's going to say, that they're probably better served than just waiting for that news to take place. Okay, so I would say that heading into the market, barring any sort of adverse news that comes in from the EIA report, I'm looking at bullish opportunities. I do understand that we are a bit extended here to the upside, so it would not be out of the realm of possibilities here to see a little bit of pullback down to VWAP before we see that move higher. Okay. All right. Now we've gotten to the point of the session here where I put on my marketing hat and encourage folks to hit likes and hit subscribes. Give me a note, maybe give me a super chat, kind of comment here, to basically support my efforts here in giving you guys some analysis to support you in understanding the markets and things of that nature. So looks like I got one other like, which is great. So in any case, guys, basically what I'm asking is if you can hit the like, hit the subscribe, make a comment or two on the portal is all very much welcomed here, and supports me in my ability to continue to provide this content for you. Okay. All right. Now that I've gotten through this marketing portion of the session here, we'll go ahead and take a look at what everybody's looking for here, and that is an understanding of the equity markets. I know that there's a fair amount of interest in a lot of NASDAQ or NASCrack, as I call it sometimes, the way it moves. Thank you, MB. All right, let's take a look here on the daily. Okay, so you can see here that again, really nothing in this on this daily chart to indicate anything other than normal kind of price action. Okay, now what I guess is significant here, the fact is that we did manage to close a bearish engulfing candle here. Okay, we managed to close a bearish engulfing candle, but we managed to secure some buyers. The question is, are we going to make a new high? Yes, is where love and hate collide. Yes. Okay. So in any case, we got a bearish engulfing candle. We have yet to make a new high in this market. All right. 25,000 still appears to be an area of contention. All right. 25,000 still appears to be an area of contention. So the question now becomes, we got a bearish candle yesterday. We have a developing candle here today. Do we continue the trend that we're in to the upside? Well, that's what the daily chart is telling us. This might just be kind of a normal retracement for another leg higher. Okay, certainly possible. But if we want to, I guess, align with that, we need to see a new high. We won't know that. We won't know that until the close of the day for this current chart. But we are seeing that we did have some sellers step into this market. We're around maybe the 50% range of this candle here, and it would be very easy for the market to falter here. Okay, very easy for the market to falter. We're starting to see some indications of that, right? And anytime we see the gold get strong, that's usually a recipe for weakness in the equity markets. All right, so let's take a look at the 4-hour chart and see what the 4-hour chart's telling us. We're going to turn off the initial balance range because the chart is getting way too busy. Again, you can see that we are kind of fighting the 9 EMA, VWAP, and I don't know, this most recent probably is the 50 or the 20. Okay, 20 EMA. Okay, so we have the 20, 50, 100, and 200. So 9, 21, 20, 50, 100, 200. Okay, I just gotta maybe point that when my arrow is probably better because I don't think you guys see my cursor. So this is the 9. The blue is the VWAP. We have the 20 MA, 50, 100, 200. Price is above all of that. But I guess my cause for concern here a little bit to the upside is we're starting to see a little bit of strength here. Right, we're starting to see some price action to indicate that maybe we get a leg lower in this market here, right? So we had a bearish candle. We got into a demand zone. We found some buyers to take market higher, but sellers have stepped in. I would say rather quickly, right? We weren't able to get too far before we found some sellers of this market. So I would say that the 4 hour maybe is beginning to show me some signs of maybe some potential bearish kind of price action, as much as that is hard to imagine here. Okay. But let's take a look at the 30-minute chart here and see what the 30-minute chart is telling us. Okay, so again, we got a nice leg lower, okay, in this market. Trying to give you guys as much context, as many candles here as possible to provide as the context here. So we're going to turn off the moving averages. It's got way too many lines. So we were, I think yesterday, we were up at these levels, right? And we were debating, do we have the resources to take the market higher? Well, and we were concerned in participating in the market to the upside, right? So we were thinking maybe more bearish opportunities. And sure enough, we got nothing but bears here for most of the session here. Now, after this swing low, we managed to kind of consolidate up above, but we're still very much in bearish structure, right? Still very much in bearish structure, right? So while we are seeing a little bit in the way of bullish price action at the moment, you know, I'm still kind of the opinion, especially on the shorter time frame, maybe that there is maybe more opportunity to the downside, okay, in this market. That's kind of what I'm seeing right now. The path of least resistance for me on the shorter time frame is probably lower, okay? And then how low can it go? How low can it go? Well, I would say that this level down here around 24,760 would be a natural destination for this move, okay, that we're seeing, right? We had a swing low. And if I did some Fibonacci, you guys know that I do a little bit of Fibonacci, right? Kind of put math in my favor here, right? So if I measure this back to this move, well, there's that 24,768 level, and opens up the door for maybe a move all the way down to 24,680. Okay, that would be a natural 100% extension of this swing here. Okay, so again, I would say that maybe let's take a look before I make my conclusion here. Let's take a look at first of all, let's take a look at the fixed range volume profile and see where price is in relation to today's price action. I suspect it's lower, but we'll confirm. Okay, so right there. Okay, there it is. Actually, we are in range, right? We had a nice swing to the downside, and we've kind of fallen back inside range. Taking a look at the initial balance range across the various markets. Okay, so that I believe is let's see. Let's go ahead and look at Tokyo or Asia to start. Okay, looking at the Asia was looks like a little bit bullish here at the tail end of the Asia session. Looks like London was probably also bullish or in range. Yeah, so Asia bullish, London in some sort of range. Did not manage to make to hold above the initial balance range. Sellers have stepped in, but I don't know if that's with any sort of conviction, to be honest. Okay, a lot of wicks on both ends of the candle. We're right at the VWAP at the moment. Would be a natural location for an acceleration, honestly, in price to the upside. We have price below our 9 EMA, kind of between our 9 EMA and our VWAP. So do we honor our 9 EMA? If so, then the price is looking like it wants to head lower. Seeing these indecisive candles here is causing me a little bit of concern because it's giving me an indication that market participants don't know what direction to take the market. So again, we are inside the balance range for London. Until we break the range in either direction with some volume, I'm going to be sitting on my hands. Do I feel like there maybe is an opportunity maybe for another downside move? Yes, that is my current view, and that's kind of what we're going to be. But I do need to see a little bit more evidence. Specifically, I need to see price get below VWAP, and then maybe we see some sort of acceleration. Ideally, we'd like to get below this initial balance range that was established in London for a move lower. Okay, so that's kind of what I'm thinking right now. I'm looking more bearish I think in the Nasdaq, I think based on the price action I'm seeing on the lower time frame chart, I on the higher time frame, I understand that I'm still technically in some bullish structure. So we have to be careful. But I think given I'm starting to see some signs here that we are either ranging to bearish in this market. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the S&P here. Probably going to give us the same kind of look and feel here. Okay, so the daily offered us, let's see, let me move some of our drawings. We got a nice bearish engulfing candle, not quite an engulfing candle here. And we didn't, this top part is not covering the entire body here. So it's not entirely engulfing, but engulfed a good chunk of this. We're seeing here in the ADX indicator, right? There is a little bit of slowdown in the positive direction, although over the overall momentum or the overall momentum of the direction is strong. Okay. So, I'm not seeing really a lot of, I guess, on the negative DI, but a little bit of softness, I guess, on the positive, with still some relatively strong momentum here to the upside in this market. Okay, so daily still, I would say, still remains bullish. Looking at the 4-hour chart, okay, 4-hour chart, I guess maybe more from bullish to range on the 4-hour chart. I'm gonna go ahead and turn off, if I can, turn off my initial balance range here, because that's kind of interrupting my ability to review the markets here. So see if I can do that. We'll turn this off. Okay, so again, nice strong bearish candle to the downside. Now, is this the beginnings, or is this a signal that sellers have kind of had enough of higher pricing in this market, or is this a way to kind of flush out some hopeful buyers so that participants can accumulate further here? Okay, right now, like I said, as long as price remains inside this bearish candle on the 4-hour, I'm going to be of the opinion that maybe there is more opportunity here to the downside. Okay, as long as we remain inside this candle, I would say that there's probably more opportunity, or path of least resistance is lower. Okay, looking at the 30-minute chart, similar to what we were seeing in the NAS. Okay, we got a nice swing to the downside. You know, everybody, we're looking at this. Does the equity markets really have the momentum here to drive price higher? Well, they proved to us they don't. Okay, sellers did step into this market and drove the session lower, and now this feels like more of a little bit of a consolidation pattern. Lot of indecision as to what direction they want to take the market. We're seeing wicks on both ends of the market, so there's really not any sort of aggressive buying or selling going on at the moment here, and that's also present in our ADX. Right, we've seen a lot of our DMI indicator here, seeing a lot in the way of overlap. Momentum is kind of waning, right? Not really showing us any sort of direction here at the moment. Okay, we're going to go ahead and open up our fixed range volume profile. We're going to get we're trying to understand exactly where price is in relation to yesterday's price action here. So we're going to open up the start here to the close here. And you can see, similar to what we were seeing in the NAS, we're in range. Okay, so in range means that we need to seek more information from the market to understand which direction they want to take the market. Not an area that I necessarily want to participate in. The middle of yesterday's range is not an area that where I want to be aggressive. I'm going to pick the upper end or the lower end of the range. That's where I would expect to see participants become a little bit more aggressive. Okay, so 67.40 to the upside might be a good location to fade this current direction, right? Of this current move that we're seeing. 67.40 seems like a logical place for price to stall. Okay, and maybe reverse to the upside. If I'm going to be a participant, if I can ever get this candle here, not this arrow here, right? So maybe, right? I'm trying to give you as much context and get to my arrow here at the same time and not really cooperating here. Okay, so if I'm more of a bearer, well, then I need to wait for some higher pricing here, right? Maybe I can monitor this using a channel, right? That maybe will give me an early indication. I would expect that if I'm a buyer, I'd like to be a maybe potential buyer down at the low end of value. Okay. Here, right? So 6,700, 6,703 might be a logical place for a buy. We saw price leave that area, and these areas don't just get revisited, right? So that might be an area where we could see price revisit before we see sort of any sort of move back to the upside of the market. But right now, again, guys, like I said, and I'm a little bit hesitant to really look at the initial balance range because I don't think it's going to really tell us all that much. But we'll take a look anyway. All right, so we'll take a start off with the Tokyo market. All right, Tokyo, and we'll turn it on here. Okay, Tokyo managed to take the market higher before a seller stepped in really strong. Okay, right, and then they came back, and now we're back up to these levels above the initial balance range from Tokyo. Looking at London, London looks like it's a little bit more rangy. Okay, looks like maybe it might be still in. Yeah, there it is. Inside the range, every attempt that's been made so far in getting to higher prices has been rejected. So is that an indication? Is that an indication that we could see price continue to the downside? Well, that's kind of my view. I feel like unless we can hold above the initial balance range in London, the path of least resistance to me right now seems to be to the downside. Okay. But the fact that we're inside the value range, I need some more evidence of that. Okay. All right. Let's take a look at the final market before you do one final pass across all the markets, and that is the Dow. Okay. So we'll take a look at the daily. Again, similar kind of thing. We did see here. We'll remove some of our drawings. Really wild wick here in this wick here is causing me a little bit of some sellers might have stepped into this market, but maybe we cleared the path. I don't know. We cleared the path of maybe continuation here to the upside. Okay. We got rid of a lot of stops to allow for continued bullish behavior. I'm not sure. In any case, the daily chart is maybe showing maybe a little bit of signs of loss of momentum here. Okay. We are above some value areas. So we are, in areas that where we would expect to see the market move pretty swiftly. Looks like we're beginning to develop some maybe a second distribution here. Okay, in this market. So daily, while bullish, does appear to be losing a little bit of momentum. All right, so here we are again, similar to what we were seeing in the other equity markets. Strong bearish candle here. Okay, I don't know, result of news yesterday possibly. Again, we are at the lower end of this bearish candle. Again, for me, indicating that maybe there's a possibility of continuation. Okay, not seeing that of yet. Okay, not really aggressive at the moment. What we're seeing is some bullish price action. Looking at the ADX, kind of indicating that we are in some sort of range. Really no aggressive or aggressive buyers or sellers in the market at the moment. Okay. All right. Let's take a look at the fixed range volume profile here. We'll locate the start of, let's see, let's move to the 30-minute chart before we do that. Okay. Take a look at the fixed range volume profile. Oops, that's not what I wanted. Okay. We're going to take a look at the fixed range volume profile and get a sense for where price is in relation to yesterday's price action. Okay. And we're going to take this and drag this across. And you can see that we are inside the range, similar to what we were seeing in the other equities. So again, I'm going to be watching these set of channels here. Okay. This channel in particular, to see if it gives me a signal, maybe a potential signal for a continuation move to the downside. Okay. I'm going to take a look at the initial run through the initial balance here across the various markets. We'll start off with Tokyo or Asia. Okay. Go ahead, open that up. All right. So really no direction in Asia. We had maybe a failed auction opportunity develop in Asia. London, I think, is also a little bit range bound at the moment. Okay. London, very much range bound, not really giving us. So not really anything in the way of aggressive buying or selling at the moment. I would say that again, if I had to pick a direction, if you told me to pick a direction, coach, I would say to the downside. Okay, that's aligned. I'm seeing this swing, and this doesn't feel like it's an impulsive move to the upside. This feels like a consolidation pattern for maybe another follow through move here to the downside. Okay, I don't know if it'd go down to that far, but it's certainly down. Okay. All right. So now that we've gotten through all the various markets, guys, okay, we're going to go ahead and just one final pass across the various markets and just kind of confirm our views. So again, price is coming inside the initial balance range. So I would say coming into the session for gold, kind of starting to look like maybe a little bit, maybe range to bullish. Okay. I am wary of this area of here, maybe the top end of this triangle pattern. Okay. That could offer us maybe a continuation opportunity as we get closer to the apex of this triangle pattern. Okay. So that's in the works. So I would say probably more neutral than any direction here at the moment. Although we're starting to see maybe we are maybe in a bullish swing of this consolidation pattern. So I would say that we're probably a little bit in range in the gold market. Looking at the crude oil market, I would say that's probably the strongest that I've seen so far to the upside. Okay. I still see price action to indicate that maybe we are going to see some further price action here to the upside. So, and then we also have the EIA report, so something to be aware of. But headed into the session, I would say bullish. And then across all the equities, guys, I think, again, I still need to see more information. I need to gather more information on these markets. But looking at these markets, again, I have to kind of err on the side of bears, right? I feel like this is really just a consolidation, maybe for further opportunity, but I need to see more evidence of that, right? Right now, we are in this bullish channel, hugging the lower end, and there's a little bit of indecision here going on. So not really a whole lot of conviction in this downside move at the moment, but the market's going to open here in 5 minutes, and that probably will give us the participants necessary to kind of confirm which direction they want to take this market. But I would say right now I'm kind of neutral to bearish in the NASDAQ, and the same is true for the ES. I would say neutral to bearish, and the Dow, neutral to bearish, okay, across the board. Okay. That's kind of the structure that I'm in. We'll have to see again what kind of evidence, what the participants have to say about all of this. At the end of the day, they will be able to drive these markets, and I'm going to do my best to try to react to that as best I can. Okay. All right, guys. Well, I think that's it for me. Again, just would encourage you guys to hit the likes, hit the subscribes, make a comment or two on the portal, sharing how this analysis is supporting your understanding of the markets. Okay. And we're going to go ahead and close this session as we close most sessions. Trade well, trade safe, trade like a pro, be a market trader. Have an excellent day trading, guys. And we'll talk again tomorrow. Okay. You're welcome, Vav. You too. Stumps.